Yeah, eat, sleep, fantasy, you rockin' with the best. NFL Fantasy Football Podcast. We talking mock drafts, running backs, better follow the conversation.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Eat, Sleep, Fantasy Football Podcast. My name is Dale. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for downloading. Thanks for going on YouTube and checking it out. And yeah, we're going to have a fun day today because Clayton Cadu is here.
Hello!
Do we officially say, you're like partners and all this stuff now? Or no? Have we said any of that?
You just threw it out. You just told me I am, so I guess.
We're
partner.
not partners. That sounds weird. Partners with ESF. You're going to see a lot of Clayton this year because he's a badass motherfucker and he knows his stuff and why not.
I'm excited.
Yeah, it's going to be good. Clayton, we're going to do a couple things today. Actually, we're going to do one big thing. We're going to talk about fantasy football, but something a little different instead of going through their rankings and top five, blah, blah, blah. Or before we go into the, the way too soon rankings that everybody does. If I see another article titled way too early wide receiver rankings, I'm going to, anyways. So we're going to go through some of our flex-worthy players today. I have a few. Clayton has a few. I think it'll be pretty good. Basically, people that are just outside your starting lineup. So we're assuming that you have 2 running backs and 2 wide receivers. We're assuming you have 1 quarterback and 1 tight end. So these are guys that are just right outside of that, right? So, the number 13 quarterback or the number 25, 26, 27 running back, guys that you could really start thinking about that are good, decent flex plays in our mind. Clayton, you want to add anything to that?
No, that's pretty much it. Like you said, the too early rankings, I get it. There's no freaking football season yet. So why is everyone putting all these rankings out? I get it. I did all mine as well, but let's just battle through all this stuff first. I mean, we can't really do anything until free agency hits anyways. And then from there we can go,
I've always hated fantasy football podcasts in the off season, and we've always done them. And I just hate the hypotheticals. And I don't know, who likes that stuff? Who likes, oh, well, if so-and-so goes here, then the running back value will be higher, but the wide receiver value will be low. It's like, come on. It's so many hypotheticals that don't mean anything. You're just listening to blabbling. So if you do want to listen to blabbling, I have a solo podcast coming out soon. My wife's mad at me. You probably can't subscribe on iTunes or anything yet because I haven't set it up, but you can subscribe on YouTube. You'll find me on Twitter and Facebook, Mad at Me Pod, at Mad at Me Pod. And of course, Clayton is still doing his stuff over fantasy football from up north. He talks about fantasy football as a Canadian, which if you think American fantasy football is fun, wait till you see how Canada does it.
Yeah, we're putting our way too early rankings out actually next episode. So if you guys want to listen.
Sorry, Clayton.
Oh, we just talked about that. You said you didn't want to hear that. Damn it.
Anyways, we're going to have a lot of fun this offseason. It's going to be maybe once a week type thing. We're going to get for the draft next episode. You're going to hear this next Monday. We're going to have John Chapman talk about some rookie quarterbacks. I think quarterback position is the big rookie position. I mean, running backs can make a splash, so can wide receivers, but really we're looking at the quarterbacks next week, so you want to stay tuned for that. That's going to be a fun one with the big old John Chapman.
Yeah, and then after that, I think the following week I'll get on with Armando, I believe, and we'll talk some. By then, free agency will have hit, so we'll be able to talk some landing spots there.
It actually sounds like we're organized right now.
Well, hey, that's what happens when you bring a Canadian on board, buddy. Make it happen.
Cool. So, I don't know. You just want to get right into it, or what?
Yeah. Okay. What do you want to start? What position do you want to start with?
Let's start with quarterbacks. I'll go through a couple of mine. You can tell me what you think, and I guess we could just start right now with one of my guys is Ryan Tannenhill. He has the Tennessee Titans. They move the ball. AJ Brown is not peaked. I don't think he's going to get better and better. So that helps him a lot. And I really like the passing attack of the Titans. I think they're a good team. I think they're a good offensive line. The quarterback that you can get, outside of that top, 12, once everybody grabs their quarterbacks, you can get him if you go really, really late into a draft and you get that 10th or 11th quarterback, you might be able very, very late round just to get a little, safety net and Ryan Tannehill a little bit later.
Yeah, I agree with that. I have him actually like in the top 10. I really, really like this this offense, period. And like you said, I don't think A.J. Brown has peaked, and I think you're just going to see more of a passing attack going into this year as well, right? Because, we obviously know Derrick Henry is unstoppable, and I think they're probably teams are going to try to defend that even more, which is going to open up the field more for Tannenhill, and I think he's just going to be able to sling it out there, and he'll probably get another. Corey Davis most likely is going to be leaving, so they're probably going to add a mediocre guy through free agency that'll make a difference for this team as well.
Yeah.
I'm going to reach a little bit deeper, though. I'm going to talk Sam Darnold, I think. I'm not sure about that, if you like that take or not, but as long as I'm hoping he stays in New York. I think that's just the spot where he should stay, and I think he'll succeed. I think if the Jets trade out of that number 2 spot, maybe go and scoop one of those wide receivers early, like get a Jamar Chase or a Jalen Waddle or pretty much any one of those top 3 guys, Devonta Smith, I think that is going to help Darnold. I think the new coaching staff, I think that's going to be, Darnold's talented, coming out of college. Everybody had him graded high, and then he gets put on the Jets, and he gets stuck with Gase as his coach, right? Yeah. Gase has broken players left, right, and center, Darnold included, right?
Yep.
This is a fresh start for him. I think Robert Saleh is going to be able to do his trick, and Mike LaFleur are going to be able to do what they need to do in order to make this kid who we think he should be. And I think you're going to be able to get him very, very late in drafts. So if you're in a super flex league or something like that, try to load up on those, as long as you have a good one decent quarterback, like an elite guy, a top 10 guy, I think you can wait on that second quarterback and, get all the other elite players at their position before you go and scoop. And then you can get Darnold later in drafts, probably double-digit rounds, I would think.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I would think so, too. The Jets, a little fun fact, the Jets haven't had a 4,000-yard passer since Joe Namath. Which is crazy. Not only that, so they're second in the league with the biggest drought of a 4,000-yard passer. The Bears are first. The Bears have never had a 4,000-yard passer.
That's crazy? Wild. That's a wild stat.
Anyway, so yeah, Sam Darnold finished with only 2,200 passing yards last year, which is not that he only played 12 games. But yeah, I like Sam Darnold. Man, if he can get it together and just have a couple of weapons around him, I like the kid. Another quarterback, not to talk too much into quarterbacks, but Kirk Cousins has always been one of my guys to get a little bit later. Again, we're kind of talking about flex-worthy. Of course, you're not going to, unless it's super flex, you're not going to have a quarterback, but just right outside, the starter level, I think is Kirk Cousins. He has weapons, right? He has Jefferson, Thielen, Dalvin Cook. Weapons all around him to succeed. So he's one guy that you're going to get late. He's not as flashy as, maybe somebody like Justin Herbert. I think Justin Herbert will probably go before him, stuff like that. But I like him.
Oh, people have to remember, all we care about is fantasy stats. He's an ideal fantasy quarterback. I like him. I had him on many teams last year. Yeah, like you said, not flashy. You're not going to expect, like monster plays out of him, but he's going to throw touchdowns. How do you not with the receiving core?
Right. Yep.
Right. So, I like that. I think I may have misunderstood our conversation when we were talking about this, because I went even deeper than Sam Darnold, and I'm going to throw Cam Newton out there.
Jeez.
Only because I don't know why I went so deep, but anyways, but look, Newton, he finished, although he did finish last among all the quarterbacks in passing yards per game, he ranked first among quarterbacks, 12 rushing touchdowns, and third with almost 600 yards rushing. His legs still work. He's still a running quarterback, is what you like in fantasy as well. Now, as far as this team goes, the Patriots had probably, without a doubt, the worst receiving core in the league, I would think.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? No Edelman. They had a couple rookie tight ends that didn't do anything. They had Jacoby Myers. They had, who else was there? Jacoby Myers and N'Keal Harry did nothing. So, I mean, you can't really put that on Newton. But now coming into this year, I think if he does stay with the Patriots, I think Belichick's going to be, they have the third most money in salary cap. They have the third most money. They're going to go out there and they're going to get some guys. Most likely going to be weapons on the offensive side of the ball. And I think if you do that, and I think Bill can keep him, you're going to get this guy cheap. I think you're going to be able to use him as long as he signs, though. That's the thing.
Yeah.
And now I promise the rest of my guys aren't that deep.
I do want to mention Ryan Tannenhill had just as many rushing touchdowns as Lamar Jackson. So they're basically the same player, right?
Exactly.
Well, I mean,
same player.
We're not going to talk about Lamar Jackson at 800 more yards for them, but they had the same amount of touchdowns, points.
Yeah, it's all about touchdowns.
All right, moving on to running backs. We're done with the Devin Singletary as RB2, right? Like that. I don't think that's happening. Do you?
No, Zach Mott, they drafted him high, and I think there's a lot of hype around him going into the year. Just didn't get a chance to show it. Injuries held him down. But when he was on the field, I think Moss was the better back, period. So I think from this point, I think it's going to be more of to start the year, I think it's just going to be more of a committee, and I think it could just stay that way, to be honest with you, unless somebody gets hurt.
I do too, and that's why I think Devin Singletary is a strong flex play. You know, I think last draft, and correct me if I'm wrong, but if you got Singletary as your RB2, you were feeling pretty good, and he seemed like a very solid RB2 at draft day. This year, that's not the case. I think we're going to have to tip our expectations with Devin Singletary here, and chalk it up to of a good flex running back, maybe. Switch around guys like DJ Chark and Singletary from week to week or something, somewhere around those lines.
Well, he's going to get double-digit touches most likely, right? So, I mean, that's what you definitely want in a flex play. And if he can break one, he can break one. That's huge. Yep.
So, one of my guys definitely, and I love the Bills. So, I think with Josh Allen there at the helm, who knows, how good and how many points this team can score. And if they're given a lot of opportunity to score, that's good for the running backs. So
exactly. A guy want to touch on that we both agree on. Well, by the way, you owe me $5 for our bet yesterday in poker.
I bet again. I don't owe you $5.
Well, yeah, I bet because you were going to be my guy yesterday. 5 minutes after I bet John, you blew it, and it cost me $6.37. Actually, thank you very much.
Hey, and look, I appreciate you betting for. So we were all playing poker last night. We have a virtual poker night, and myself and Nick and John Chapman and we were all in on the video chat, and you said that I could outlast Nick. John said that Nick could outlast me. So you guys put a bet, and I let you down bad. Nick actually won the whole thing, and I got out like 2 hands after you bet on me. So it wasn't my night.
It wasn't, and I think I was out probably 3 hands after you went out, so it was all good. A guy that we agree on as far as running backs goes, AJ Dillon, right? And that's going to. What's a little bit concerning right now is the fact that there was talk about maybe the Packers tagging Aaron Jones, which don't think that's going to happen. I think it might just have been, thrown out there for the sake of it. But if AJ Dillon is the guy right now, if you look at rankings and stuff like that, ECR, they have him at like quarterback or running back 30. So, I mean, he's definitely out of your running back 2 discussion. So I think as long as he's the guy, he's definitely going to shoot up draft boards come closer to the draft day.
Yeah, this is the one that he could definitely be in that RB2, a strong RB2 category. Right now with the unknowns, I think Dillon is right there. Of course, with the Alex Jones. Well, Aaron Jones, not Alex Jones. Yeah.
The only concerning thing on my part with it when it does come to Dillon is his pass catching ability. He hasn't been that great. That's why I do think maybe they will still keep. They'll sign Jamal Williams, and Jamal Williams will be that. He's not going to be that bell cow back that Aaron Jones was. But the Packers, had the 9th most touches in the last two seasons. So that's a plus, especially like I said, especially if Dylan is the only guy there. So
Yep.
get him late if you can.
Yep.
I
hate the Dolphins, but Myles Gaskin. Yeah. Okay. I said that right the first time.
Yeah, you did.
It sounded weird. I mean, I don't think the Dolphins are winning anything anytime soon. I still think that they are just a piece of shit team that doesn't deserve to win, and I don't think they will. But I think Gaskin is. I mean, he was on a roll before he got sidelined and injured. Worthy flex play. Do you agree? Flex?
Depending on who comes in there. That's the thing. There's talk like they could be signing an elite guy like an Aaron Jones. Then what? Then Gaskin, he's not going to get any touches, right? But if they don't sign anybody, I think Gaskin is very well could be a RB2. He was very good last year before his injury, and they have a little bit of depth kind of behind him as well. Like, I mean, with Salvin Ahmed and stuff like that, they all showed up last year too. So yeah. I mean, if he's there and if there's nobody really competing against him, definitely good flex play.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. I'll go with Raheem Mostert. I have him outside my 24. I wanted to put him in there because this guy's explosive. Anytime he's been on the field since 2017, Since 2017, he's only had one season where he's played 16 games. So it's durability, right? My next two guys, the reason why they're outside of my top 24 is because durability issues. So, but Mostert's proved he's a very talented back. He's shown his big playability, gets in the end zone. But as far as where he's going, going in like early drafts and stuff like that, like he's going to fall out of that top 24. And I'm not personally going to reach for a guy like that, so I'll take him in, round, what would that be? Probably 7, 8, somewhere around there. So, but yeah, if he could, he's never really had 150 touches even either. So that's the concerning part. If I'm gonna draft a guy, an RB1 and RB2, a starting running back on a team, I'm going to expect double that in touches a year, right? You know what I mean? If I'm going to invest that high in a guy,
and that's why he's outside the RB2. I mean, a flex worthy running back, and I mean, Mostert he's going to get like 65 yards rushing and 30 or 40 receiving yards, right? If that's the case, I mean, that's nearly 100 total yards, give or take, on any given week. Then you add in a touchdown here and there, and I mean, that's what you want from your flex. 70, 80 yards to get you whatever 8 points. If you're in PPR, that goes up to 13 or 14 points with some receiving yards, and then add the touchdown. He can be a weekly winner for you.
Yeah, exactly.
I just threw out a lot of numbers, and I don't know if it made any sense, but we can move on.
No, you're good. It sounded good.
I'm just saying numbers. I kind of blacked out. All right, let's run into some wide receivers. You want to go first?
Sure, I'll go with the guy that I'm super high on, T. Higgins, for the Bengals. Just I love this kid. He was, he's putting up wide receiver 15 numbers by week 3 of his rookie season. And then you see Joe Burrow go out. In the 10 games he played with Burrow, he was putting up over 12 points per game, and then he was wide receiver 26. After, from weeks 11 to 17, he was only putting up 8 and was wide receiver 46 in that stretch. So
right.
It's going to depend on, it's two things here. It's going to depend on if we find out that Burrow is going to be out for an extended amount of time, I want to see who they bring in as a quarterback, because they're going to have to bring somebody in. You throw a guy like a Jacoby Brissett or somebody in there that can run an offense, I'm still kind of confident that they're going to get him the ball. He immediately jumps into the wide receiver 2 on this team, with AJ Green most likely leaving. So, but if Burrow's in there, I think you're going to see him. You're going to see him well inside the top 20 next year.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty solid analysis. The Bengals are not going to get much better as far as they're gonna be playing from behind unless they make some crazy moves, which I doubt. So they're gonna have to they're gonna have to throw a lot. Joe Burrow can sling the ball. Maybe even though he's injured, maybe given him, some more time to understand the playbook and understand NFL speed and all that stuff. I mean, I don't play the NFL, obviously, but so I don't know how that actually works without you being on the field. But I would assume that, some of the stuff he's learned when he was sidelined, I think will make him even better year two. So he's going to throw the ball a lot, and T. Higgins is probably going to be his guy. I think. Did
you play high school football though?
No, I watched a lot. I have bad knees, Clayton.
I thought everybody watched. I thought everybody played football in high school. No? Oh, what sports did you play?
I played volleyball.
Me too, buddy.
Did you? Yeah. Did we go over this? I don't know if we talked about this, but yeah. No, I was a pretty bad at. Look, I was in 10th grade and playing on the varsity volleyball team. Let's just say that.
I was all city in good old Edmonton here, so I was on TV. I was on TV.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So and basketball I dominated too. Never played defense, so I averaged probably 20 points a game, but I was that guy that, rush down, score a point, and then let the other team run up. Guy gets a rebound, throws it to half court. Oh, there's me. Just put up a nice little layup, right? That's me. I have no problem admitting that. I'm a terrible defensive player.
You need to when we go to Vegas, we need to find a court and play.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Hopefully I'll be in a little bit better shape, but yeah.
Yeah, I need to get in shape for sure. All right. Let's see. One guy that we agree on is Brandon Ayuk, the 49ers. Yeah. Standout stud, I think. Kyle Shanahan is going to use, he is a perfect wide receiver for Kyle Shanahan, so that's going to work out really well. I don't know how much we need to talk really about that, except he's all around. He can come out of the backfield. He can do a little bit of everything. He was targeted a ton last year too. So Brandon Ayuk.
A thing that stands out to me too is that out of the 4 games that they did, that you saw Kittle, Ayuk, and Debo all on the I want to say court now because you're just talking about basketball on the field. In all 4 of those games, Ayuk had at least he either scored or had at least 100 total yards. So 100 yards receiving. So he's being used even when you got a target monster like Kittle on the field. So
yeah,
moving forward, I think Ayuk's going to play a big part in this offense.
Yeah, obviously, let's pay attention to the quarterback issue in San Francisco to really figure it out. But I think just a scheme of what the 49ers are going to do, they're going to find the way to, put the ball in his hands. And a wide receiver that can come out of the backfield is a huge plus. And so, again, if you're looking at a wide receiver that maybe gets 50 yards with a couple catches, and then on top of that, maybe gets a carry or a couple screens for an easy 15 or 20 yards a pop. And those are just huge bonuses. And throwing a touchdown there, bam, before you know it, 14.5 points, according to my math.
There you go. Good math, buddy.
DJ Chark, I'm not letting go of him yet.
Oh, I wouldn't. I'm high on Chark this year. I've always liked him. I drafted him early.
He was a fuck that guy a couple of times last year for me. It was tough. That quarterback situation was weird all season. Hopefully they get that all figured out and he's back to he has talent, right?
Oh, 100%. I think what I'm going to love about this offense, bring Trevor Lawrence in. We saw what James Robinson, how he dominated as an undrafted rookie last year. Now I think what's going to happen is you're going to see a lot more stack boxes, right? You're going to see a lot more stack boxes for Robinson, and then you're going to see, LaVisca, and you're going to see DJ Chark, and Lawrence is just going to be able to ball out. If he brings even half of what we saw in college, he's going to be better than what the Jags have had at quarterback. So
ever,
I like I like Chark and LaVisca both this year. So
nice. All right. And you like the Canadian Claypool.
Yeah, Claypool. I just think, the only thing really holding him back right now is depending what's going to be happening with Juju, right? If Juju does walk, which by the sounds of it, he's going to, I'd chase money at his age right now too, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Last year, rookie campaign, put up double-digit touchdowns, finished 3rd on the team with targets. 110 targets in his rookie year is huge, right? You saw Juju with 143. Deontay Johnson's still there. He led with 155. Now, Claypool, if Juju leaves, Claypool is going to move into that number 2 role. And sure, you look at the vacated targets already with Juju leaving, 143 more targets. So obviously you have James Washington there too, but I just like his he's kind of got a rapport with Roethlisberger right now. So I think with probably Roethlisberger's last year, I think he might rely on Claypool a little bit again this year.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, I mean, that's kind of guy that could be a sneaky into the wide receiver 2, right? A strong wide receiver 2 by midseason. We'll see. You know, I mean, this team goes as Ben Roethlisberger goes. So depending on how well he does.
Hey, should I pull my Canadian flag out for him right now? Hey, just joking.
It's upside down.
Let's see. Yeah, I know. Okay. It's bad. It was a last second thing there. There you go.
Can you sing the song?
No, not today. My throat's a little dry. I worked all day.
One day.
Hey, I forgot to tell you that story yesterday. I was excited to tell you that story.
What?
So I drive bus, obviously, for a living. This guy gets on the bus yesterday. He's just high. He's going through his pants trying to find like a ticket or something. And I'm like, oh, it's all good, man. And then he grabs this wallet. He looks in it. And then he comes up to me. He's like, oh, man, somebody dropped the wallet. I'm like, oh, okay. So I grab it and I look at it and I'm like, it's his wallet. I'm like, what? So I get out of my seat. I walk to the back, right? I'm like, hey, bud. I'm like, is this your wallet? He's like, oh, bro, where did you find that, man? He's like, I dropped it somewhere. I'm like, really? Wow. He's like, oh, man. He's like, I appreciate you giving it back to me. I thought I lost it. I'm like, holy, how fucked up do you got to be? It was wild.
Funny. That's funny.
Wild. Sorry. I don't know why. I just thought about it right now for some odd reason. And maybe it's because the maple leaf kind of looks like, you know, a weed plant. Maybe that's what I kind of thought.
That's crazy. That's
the things I see. I could do a whole podcast on things that I've seen on the bus.
I bet. So. Driving with Clayton.
Hey, that should be a segment.
Clayton carpool to Clayton.
Carpool Clayton. Talk tight ends real quick.
Yeah, sure. What you got?
I want to go with Adam Troutman. I think right now, obviously with Jared Cook being released, Josh Hill being released. You know, 3rd round pick out of Dane last year. Didn't see much action though. I think he was only 17 targets or something like that. Did have a 94% catch rate though. So he's got hands. Now, Jared Cook and Hill both gone. I think between the two of them, they had 80-plus targets. The Saints like to use their tight end. I think you're going to see he could get like a 650, 700-yard, 8-touchdown season this year.
Yeah. I like it. My guys, I'm kind of stretching a little bit. I don't know. Irv Smith with the departure of Kyle Rudolph. Irv Smith, the Vikings, I guess, is a guy that you could get as a really late tight end. If you wait what?
Nobody has faith in that guy for some reason. I don't know why.
I don't know. I mean, I kind of threw out a name out there, to be honest with you. I'm not 100% confident on him. He has a little bit of a hype, and if you miss the boat on tight ends, I don't think it's a bad one to take a shot at. Him and Logan Thomas of the Washington football team. They're both going to be solid guys, I think. After tight end 3 or 4, really you're throwing darts for the most part, right? I mean, you're talking about a few yards here and there. Who's going to get the cheap touchdowns is where, tight end 5 differs from tight end 12, are they going to get that 2-touchdown game that's going to boost their, fantasy points up? So somebody like Thomas, I think, can do that.
Logan, he was a big red zone threat for Washington. He actually led all tight ends or didn't lead. He finished 3rd in targets amongst tight ends last year. So that's nice. That's big for pretty much a no-name guy that you were drafting pretty much last year. And, he's probably going to move up a couple rounds for sure. Like you said, if you miss the boat on those top 3, top 4 guys, I'm personally myself in a few leagues that I'm in, I'm a streaming tight end kind of guy. I won't reach for any of those guys. Maybe that's why I don't win, but whatever. I don't like it. I always stream guys. So.
Guys like, I really like Robert Tonyan. I really, really like him. But when you're drafting, it's going to be really hard to take him in the 5th round over, your RB2 or, exactly. or even one of the running backs that we talked about, over somebody like AJ Dillon or Mostert. It's going to be really hard to take Robert Tonyan over Mostert, Well,
exactly. And then you look at guys like, how many times did we see, I wish I remember his name, from the Raiders, Forrest, whoever their second tight end was outside of Waller.
Right.
Morrow, right?
Right, yeah.
Something like Morrow. But how many times do you get a touchdown? Like, sure, if you're like in the league where you're streaming tight ends, just reach for a guy that's getting some sort. If he's on the field getting snaps, I'm okay just streaming a guy like that and seeing what he could do week to week. If that means I can go and draft one of my guys that are going to play and produce for me weekly, that's what I'm going to do.
Mm-hmm.
So another guy that I like is Gerald Everett, going to be in free agency here. He's going to probably have a pick of a few teams that he could go to, and he can start. He was good, just was behind basically Tyler Higbee all year, right? I think the Rams, or last few years, I think the Rams just went all in on Higbee. Higbee's a good tight end. What I do like about Everett, though, is his skill set. He's got a skill set kind of like a Hunter Henry, Jonnu Smith type. He's a big-bodied tight end. He can block. His hands are good. He caught over 66% of his passes in his career. He's dynamite. I think you're going to see his guy, depending on what happens in free agency. I think if he goes to a team like what would be good fit would be kind of like the Patriots or something like that. Yeah. He might even go undrafted, to be honest with you. And if that's the case, then sure, why not grab him in the, bottom couple rounds, right?
Yeah, for sure. Good deal. That was I feel like we just ran a marathon or like a sprint. I feel like we just ran like the 40-yard dash.
Yeah, we smashed that out. That was good.
I mean, how much more perfect do you want? Really quick before we do let you guys go, I kind of want to do an experiment, and I don't know how well it's going to go. But if you're listening and you're on your phone, email me contact@eatsleepfantasy.com. contact@eatsleepfantasy.com. Just put in the subject line Clayton. So I'm looking at our numbers for the offseason, which are really good. Not the best, but they are really, really, actually really kind of impressive for this time of year. I'm curious to know how many people are actually listening. For me, because we're just like small time guys, it's really hard to understand and to fully get when you're looking at the numbers, be like, okay, that's pretty sizable. I feel like we're talking in a ballroom to a bunch of people, but you can't see them. Like I have a wall in front of me and all the people are behind the wall that I can't see, but I know the room is filled. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? So what I want to do, I just want to see if you guys, if it's possible, if you're listening, just send me an email. I would love to get thousands of emails. I don't know if that's going to happen because I think most people are kind of lazy and they won't do it anyways. And that's okay. I mean, hey, I don't want to make you do anything you don't want to do.
Can I send you an email? Is that okay? Would that be,
yeah.
Would that make your day?
Number one. Yeah. Just put Clayton in the subject line. contact@eatsleepfantasy.com. And if you guys want anything in the off season, we're still a podcast for the people. So if you guys want anything, if you say, hey, I want you to talk more about, I don't know.
Early rankings?
Cleveland, Ohio. Yeah. Or, anything. I want to hear more about sheep, or eggs.
We'll put a show together.
Yeah.
We got a farmer on the crew now, don't we?
There you go. And if you want to hear more about Canada,
I'm your guy.
My first episode from Always Mad at Me podcast actually is Clayton, special guest Clayton. And we spend like an hour talking about Canada and polar bears and Eskimos. So if you're an Eskimo, don't listen because it'll probably offend you. But
it was pretty good. It was pretty fun.
It was fun. Anyways, so if you guys want to know more about Canada, I'll ask any question you want to Clayton about Canada. If you guys want to know about, fishing, yeah, I'll talk to you about fishing all day. You go fishing or no?
I used to. No, I don't. All my buddies do. All my buddies go fishing, and they're all like, "Oh," I'm like, "Yeah, no, I can't do it."
Yeah.
I don't know if I could touch a fish, to be honest with you.
Are you serious?
I got terrified as a kid, and I kind of remember it now, and I don't know.
Okay.
And I know my youngest my 2-year-old would love to go fishing.
Yeah.
So I might have to bring him out with my buddies and just don't do anything. I'll just stay back like.
Yeah. When you catch a fish, you just swing the fishing pole over to your buddy and help him unhook it for you.
Yeah, get rid of this, please. Thank you. Okay, let's wrap it up.
All right. Again, guys, we appreciate you listening and downloading everywhere. We are getting more and more into YouTube. So if you'd rather see Clayton's pretty face than hear his voice looks better than his voice sounds. I'll tell you that.
At least you can see my face now, right?
Yeah. He gets a little bit of lighting. So you guys can always find us on YouTube, on Twitter at EatSleepFF. Clayton directly, although he has access to our Twitter, so you can get him on at EatSleepFF. You can also get Clayton at Canadian Clay FF on Twitter, and you find us anywhere. But more importantly, make sure you email me with the subject line Clayton. It would be great. Seriously, it would be awesome if I got like 1,000 emails. But I bet you I'm gonna get like 3.
Come on, guys, just spam Dale.
That would be cool. I would feel wanted. I'd show my wife and say, "Look, we made it.
Yeah.
Look at all these emails we're getting."
Why are they all say Clayton on them? What the hell's going on? What do they say?
Just show her the number. I show her the little red notification number. I'm like, God, all my listeners are emailing us. This is crazy. We're super successful. Anyways, guys, again, appreciate you. We love you. I love you, Clayton. We'll
Take
talk
care,
to you soon.
buddy. You bet.
Dream and eat nation, we doing what we like. Tune in every week, guarantee we get it hype. Fantasy, football enthusiasts, I know you plan to be joining us on Eat Sleep Fantasy.